Yo, what's good? It's me. Welcome back. Got a new video for you today. A little more on the heavier side. So if you look for something funny, feel free to check out some my other videos on my page. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, family, loved ones, coworkers. I appreciate y'all. This one, you'll see by the title, they're about to get something a little more sustenance. Let's jump into it real quick, folks.
There was this part of the Howie Mandel interview with Marc Maron that I feel like mostly flew under the radar. Mark took it in a completely understandable direction, but I am just so astounded by it. I don't really even understand it. I think what Howie said, he must have not meant what he said. Not that I know anything about Howie Mandel. He's a man who I mostly know him from pointing at women who open briefcases. And also Bobby's World, which I did enjoy. I was of the age to enjoy Bobby's World. That kid had a weird head, and I liked it. But let's listen to what our man here says.
I just went and saw Ricky Gervais at the Hollywood Bowl.
What a bore.
No, brilliant.
You loved it.
I mean, what a Mark is not making any friends here. He's talking about going to a Ricky Gervais show, and he's summarizing the point, though I assume he's doing it badly because I hope that this was not the point that Ricky Gervais was trying to make, but who knows?
I think this new show is called Mortality.
I don't think I can find this. I don't know if it's out yet.
I've got a woke joke, right? You remember those jokes you used to have when we were kids, like doctor jokes? Doctor, I keep thinking I'm a pair of curtains. Well, pull yourself together then. I've done a woke version of that, brought it up to today's standards, right? So, bloke goes to the doctor. He goes, Doctor, I keep thinking I'm a pair of curtains. And the doctor goes, well, you are then.
Boo.
Literally. The attack helicopter.
Boo. I mean, I get it, but like, it's just low hanging fruit at this point. Like, people, every time somebody says identify as a cat or identify as a cheeseburger, all that kind of stuff, like, I mean, for both sides, for people that are offended by that, why are you offended by that? And the people that they're speaking of, don't let it offend you. But who okayed that joke? Who okayed that part of the special? Cut that part out. I sexually identify as an attack helicopter. Ever since I was a boy, I dreamed of soaring over oil fields, dropping hot, sticky loads on disgusting foreigners. People say to me that a person being a helicopter is impossible, and I'm the R word, but I don't care. I'm beautiful. I'm having a plastic surgeon install rotary blades, 30mm cannons, and AMG 114 Hellfire missiles on my body. From now on, I want you guys to call me Apache and respect my right to kill from above and kill needlessly. If you can't accept me, you're a heliphobe and need to check your vehicle privilege. Thank you for being so understanding. That was funnier than the joke, honestly. I mean, I know I can laugh, but it was funnier than Ricky Gervais's joke.
Helicopter joke. It's just literally the attack helicopter joke. Jesus Christ. It's been 10 years. Jesus. It's been more than 10 years since the attack helicopter joke. You just told that was your fucking trailer? So he's still telling the attack helicopter joke, but that is just a trailer for a show that I could go watch in the real world, not something that's been released. So I can't watch this bit that Howie Mandel's talking about here.
And he talked about, what we are appalled at or what we think is stupid is all about the time.
So this is, we get a little bit of moral relativism from Ricky Gervais via Howie Mandel. What is bad? It depends on where you're from, what you're surrounded by, and moral relativism, a legitimate philosophical idea. I think that you could also make the case that racism is bad no matter when it happened, even if it wasn't felt to be bad at the time. It was bad anyway. That is how I feel. And I feel that way about places that sort of have racially built caste systems now, or any built caste systems.
And this is what I'm talking about, our cultural shift. We're not shifting it, it's shifting. He goes like, listen, right now, everybody talks, the worst thing you can be is a racist. You can't, and it is right now. I mean, if that's probably the number one negative that somebody.
It was so interesting to watch like powerful, high status white men say the worst thing that can happen to you is be called a racist. I see this all the time, and it's because it's the worst thing that can happen to them. The worst thing that can happen to you, if you have a lot of status, is to be called a thing that lowers your status. And that's why wealthy, high status people worry about
I mean, I think the worst thing that I don't know. You can only
Of
stop.
being canceled and dying. And that's why when I go to dinner with people in San Francisco, they talk a lot about how to not die. Like a lot. That it is their main obsession because it's the only bad thing they can still imagine happening to them. Okay, sorry, I'll keep watching.
I don't think that's true. I think that maybe since he's written that show, the screw is turned. It doesn't seem to be the most negative thing at all.
But-
we have a president who's a racist.
This is a great point from Mark Maron, and it is absolutely the case. And I think that he's being very charitable and saying since Ricky wrote that show and not just sort of assuming that Ricky is beating a drum because it is making noise. I don't know. I'm being snarky.
But
we have a president who's a racist, and he's very popular.
he's not identified as one, though.
Well,
He's not identified as a racist. No, but like that's
What are we
taking
doing
the
here,
30,000
bro?
foot view here. What are we talking about? We're talking about whether or not people calling you a racist or doing racist things, and that result in people calling you a racist results in you losing status because it's taboo. In actual definite fact, it is easier to maintain your status or to even grow your status by doing racist stuff and saying racist things and believing that one race is superior to another now than it was 5 years ago.
how much digging do you have to do? Get me on a computer. I can do it in 2 clicks.
No, I know, but half the country doesn't agree
So
with you.
it's not the biggest problem, is it?
It's if you call him that, it's incredibly.
People call him that every day.
So like Mark's saying there's an objective reality here, and Howie's saying, yeah, but there's a bunch of people who don't think that Trump is racist. And it's like, well, do they not think he's racist, or do they not think it's racist to feel like white people are superior to?
And do they think that racism is wrong? So there's 3 categories. There are people that objectively think that he's racist. There's people that know that he's racist and don't think it's wrong to be racist. And there's people that also don't think that he's racist because the superiority of a specific race in their mind does not make you racist.
Black people. Do they not think it's racist to scapegoat races? Do they not think it's racist to only talk about certain races through the lens of crime? Like, maybe they don't think that that's racist, but it is. So now he's lost the premise, and he's going to restate the premise incorrectly.
Well, I'm just saying that the premise is faulty.
Well,
It's
let me tell you
all
that,
right.
but let me finish the premise. The premise is whatever you believe is a racist move, if he lived, Ricky Gervais, lived 100 years ago and bought 100 slaves, he's an aristocrat. He's not a racist. He would be applauded for owning a plantation.
This is the thing that I can't stop thinking about. So this is not what Ricky Gervais was saying. He was not saying that 100 years ago, I'm not expecting Howie Mandel to get the years right, but 100 years ago, you would, if you bought slaves, it'd be a real
That's
problem.
breaking the law.
1925, and slavery was
You're breaking the law at that point.
illegal. But 200 years ago, sure. 1825, you own a bunch of slaves, you're an aristocrat. No, you're a racist. The thing that's changed, and he said this correctly in the beginning, the thing that's changed is that it was back then a respectable thing to be. You can have that belief, you can be a racist, and it is not just not harmful, but it is beneficial to have that belief. Absolutely, people are products of the cultures that they are inside of, including the time period that they are inside of. And so it would be normal to be a white supremacist 200 years ago. It would, for clarity though, still be racist. But he does.
See, if that's me right now, is because something morality is based on the moral compass of the society at the time. So there's a certain in societies today, there are certain ages where people can marry, grown men can marry young women, and it's okay in certain societies. Does that make them a hebephile? What's the other thing? Pedophile? The people are like all those files. It makes them that, but it's not shunned upon in that society. I hope I'm making sense that it has always been wrong. It has always been categorically wrong. But if the society's accepting of it and group as a group, everybody's accepted, hey, we're going to accept this as not only not wrong, but beneficial, as Hank was pointing out, everybody looks the other way. Having slaves based upon their race, having black slaves is racist, but being racist 200 years ago was okay because we built on a society where slavery kept the economy going.
say, and he has this thought and it comes out of his mouth, a person buying slaves isn't racist if they live in a society in which racism is okay. And that, to me, indicates that Howie Mandel is stuck thinking that what racism is being punished for being racist. So like, you're racist if you are punished for being racist, but if you're not punished for being racist, you're not racist. And that means that he's seeing all of this through the lens of how the high status person is being affected by society's understanding of racism. He is not seeing any of this through the lens of society as a whole. He is, of course, not seeing any of this through the lens of the people who are racialized and then marginalized through that racialization. But the leap that his brain made was from it used to be a high status belief and now it's a low status belief, to believe that one race is superior to another race, to it used to be that being racist wasn't racist and now it is. And that, it took me so long to parse that. I think this is a wild thing to do. But let's talk a little bit about why racism is bad. I think maybe we got kind of caught up in the woke, anti-woke. We got caught up in the problematic without saying why it's problematic. We got caught up in the, oh, don't talk about it, it's scary stuff. And we haven't said out loud why racism is bad in a while. Or maybe we haven't said it at all correctly. Racism is bad because it's easy. It's a very easy cognitive bias to fall into. But I think that a lot of the sort of basic definition of racism is simply hating other people. A person can be out there thinking Nazis are evil, hatred of another group of people is evil, and I would never do that. I'm not a white supremacist just because I think white people are superior to black people. That's just how it is. I'm just stating a fact. I'm not doing a white supremacy. I think there are a lot of people like that. I mean, I know that there's a fair number of them
I know
because I've
people
interacted
like that.
with them. I talk and
I know people like that. I'm pretty sure I'm related to people like that in one way or another. I'm sure I interact on day-to-day basis with people that think that way, but don't flat out come out and say that hey, my people or a group of people, based on my race, based on my culture, we look at white people as superior because they're white. That is inherently racist.
they're like, no, I'm not a white supremacist, but you can't deny that white people are superior. And I'm like, that's what it is. That's the whole definition. You did it. Like, you are a Nazi. The Nazis weren't a bunch of people who went to work every day going I'm evil and thinking I'm an evil man and I've got evil in my heart and hatred and I burn with it and I burn with evil and hate. They just believed that white people were superior, and they used that meme and our normal cognitive biases and our normal fear of outsiders, and they used it as a tool to consolidate state power and then to kill people. The reason we have taboos against doing and saying racist stuff is because it is socially destructive to do and say racist stuff, because it reinforces the bias. When those actions receive social reinforcement, which is what a lot of the anti-woke story has been about. It has been about being able to say certain things and receive love and appreciation and praise for them rather than criticism. And the fact that Howie Mandel can sit there and think with his own human brain that people were less racist in a time when they were more racist. This is a spectrum, of course. You can believe that white people are superior to black people without thinking that they are unthinking animals, which was often what was believed back 200 years ago. But I have to say, thinking one group is superior to another is the first step on that path. And it's also just known to be untrue. We see that genetic variation within a racial group is often more diverse than genetic variation between racial groups. We see that there's no such thing as racial purity, that humans have been spreading out and interbreeding all over the place for the whole time. Now, of course, race is real, because societal constructs are real. We make it real. The way we make money real. The way we make property rights real. We create race. We have built race. And by having a caste system that still exists and that is defined in part by race, we create many racial differences that would not otherwise be there. Just like class stratification creates class differences that would not otherwise be there. And once those differences are there, people who either are ambitious or fearful can exploit them in order to make themselves more powerful, because working against bias is work, because accepting that race is a fake idea that feels real in your head is work. And if somebody gives you an opportunity to not do that work, while at the same time feeling superior to a bunch of people you're afraid of, you're gonna want to do that. That's an easy path, which is again why it's important to make racism taboo again. Because if you offer people an easy path and a lot of reasons to be afraid, they'll take it. It's extremely seductive. And that will be very bad for society.
Chapter to page 1. Racism, prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism. I was like, I got a brain fart there. Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial and ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. So, like Hank Green was saying, it's very simple. First, the whole concept of, when I circle in on my Scantron for the SAT or the ACT for college, and it says, what race are you? Indigenous, Pacific Islander, Asian, Black, African American, white, Hispanic, Latin American. Those are areas. Being Black, being a different shade of color, brown, red, brown, yellow, black, and white, we are precious in His sight, is all like construct. Think about it, all it is really brown. It's just shades of brown. If you go up to a white person, look at their arm, they're not actually white. They're like not a piece of paper. They're not white. It is brown. It's just a very, very light brown. It doesn't matter if they're pale. It's still very, very brown pigment. Very, very light brown pigment. Now, what is racist is very simple. If you have a group of people, you have two groups of people, right? One is Black and one is white. And the white person says, we are superior. Whatever their thought process, whatever their logic is, if they say we're superior, that is racist. If they say we're superior, thus you Black people have to serve us, that is racist. If they say we're superior and society says by law we are superior and that it's illegal for us to enslave Black people, that is racist. If Black people say white people are superior because of years of oppression, that is the cause of racism. That is racist. Now, years later, if slavery is outlawed in the present time, if society looks around and says, hey, historically white people have had an advantage, and that advantage was due to slavery, and we all say, hey, slavery's wrong, that's why we stopped doing it, now you can't do it anymore, if you get caught up, you'll get locked up if you start doing slavery all over again. But people say, despite that it's illegal, if you're white, Black, brown, and you say, hey, I still think white people, or any group of people, I'm just using white, saying, hey, we think that they are the main race that exists, and they should be in a position of power, that is racist. And I'm being very vague, and I'm careful what I'm saying is, I see it a lot. I see it in the Black community. I see it in the Asian community. I see it in the Hispanic community, where they say, hey, if we marry somebody that is white, it is a step up in society. That is racist. You saying, hey, if I marry somebody, if I'm Hispanic, I use an Asian person because my wife might be watching this and she's Hispanic. If I'm Asian, if I'm an Asian man, and I am interested in Asian women, that is okay amongst Asian people, right? There's probably deeper things there that I will not fully understand or grasp because I'm not Asian, I'm not an Asian man or Asian woman. So just sit with me. If I'm an Asian man and I say, I like Asian women, and the society says that's okay because it's the same race. But if there's an unspoken or spoken rule that says, hey, if you are an Asian man and you're able to date and marry a white woman, you have now launched yourself in a higher class in society. That is racist. Your thought process is racist. I don't know how to explain that to you. You are discriminating by community against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, simply one as a minority or marginalization. if you're a minority, Asian, Hispanic, Pacific Islander, East Asian, South Asian, whatever it may be, black, whatever it may be, white people are the majority. If you say, hey, if I date up, if I marry somebody white, that is a racist thought process you have. Whether you're black, doesn't matter what it is. Black people, if you are saying that, that is racist. I don't know how to break it down any further. Again, it's not that complicated. It's pretty simple to understand. And if you need a refresher, start this video over. That's really all I can recommend. But slavery was racist. Just because it's illegal now, I'm sure that there's people that you may know that say, hey, I think slavery should come back. They don't say those thoughts out loud now, or they try to keep it within their group chats because it's illegal now. But having the thought that slavery was okay or is okay now is racist. If they think it's past, present, or future that it was okay at any point in time, that is racist. I just don't know how to break it down any further than that. I'm just, maybe if you don't understand, that's partially on me for not helping you comprehend it. Like I said, if you don't understand, restart this video. If you stuck around and you're like, dang, I don't like this guy because he keeps talking about race in every single one of his videos, please like, comment, subscribe, because by doing so, you'll help me quit YouTube and you'll get me off the platform forever. My main goal is if I get more subscribers than Mr. Beast, I will quit YouTube forever. So until then, if you see, it's a double-edged sword. If you don't help me, then I'm going to keep talking about race. But if you do help me, I'm going to keep talking about race, but I'm also going to stop when I have more subscribers than Mr. Beast. Yeah? Sound like a deal? Sound like a good deal? Want to shake on it? I'll see you in the next one.